this week, I'm kind of go over some of the plays I did while I was on vacation. Actually, it made me a pretty good return. I think 5% right here on Riot. We'll go over that. We'll go over some of my Chewy shares that I have and what I want to do with them, how they did on earnings, and kind of the path forward on that. So let's kind of go to Chewy. Chewy did really well in this quarter. However, the stock fell because of their outlook on coming back into the real world, if you will. With everything reopening, I think they're going to have a tougher time selling products online. There's definitely some merit to that, but I don't think necessarily that their business is going to be, totally distraught. Most of their businesses auto ship, which is really, really big for them. But however, I've still made some money on Chewy. Let's see. I got into Chewy at 72.50. I sold an 84 call for almost $100, about $90 right here. So I've made $100 there, $250 on the way down. Let's see. I definitely think that they're they're definitely approaching this resistance right here. I don't know in the short term necessarily if they're going to go much higher. I think long term they're going to do pretty well, obviously. But I got it in. I got it in good, so I think I'm going to sell a covered call pretty close to where it's at now, maybe like a 75. That's a huge chunk of change, or 70, maybe like a 76 for like $150, and then bag up that. We'll see. It'll pretty much just protect my downside if the stock does decide to go further, or if not, I just collect $160 or $150. So let's just go ahead and mark that. That's probably what I'm going to do for the Chewy calls. 76 C for 150. So I got 150 here. And then last week I got into Riot. And how I did that, or how I found out about Riot, which Riot is a blockchain mining company, pretty much all Bitcoin. How I did that was, or how I found them out was, and how I got such an amazing 5% return, as I went to barchart.com for the IV rank. So pretty much you can just look up IV, implied volatility, pretty much how much the stock is going to move, or how much the market makers think that the stock's recent reaction in the past few days has moved, and the potential it has to move even further. So barchart.com, you can look up IV rank and IV percentile. IV rank is just based on the stock, and the percentile is based on pretty much the stock's history, and which I thought was pretty interesting. So obviously these are a little bit more risky investments just because IV is implied volatility and how much a stock can move. So by you looking at these stocks, they're probably going to move a good bit. So you really have to almost be right, but if you're right, you can really win. So I thought it was really interesting. You see, you have Wendy's here, which has a really high IV. I think I saw Kroger. Let me look at Kroger. I know it was here. There it is. Kroger has a 47% IV rate right now, which Kroger is just a grocery store. So it kind of surprised me on how they were so, IV ridden. But it's interesting to look at. I think they're definitely overbought right now. As you can tell on the RSI indicator, I think they're definitely a little overbought. But it's just really cool to see. I guess they've got, is it earnings this week? Okay, so that's why. Exactly. Earnings this week. I think they're overbought, so I definitely wouldn't make this trade. But I mean, you can see it's about 3% if you put it right at the money. But I guess that's why the IV has it moving about $1.80. So that's kind of why you're kind of getting some of this premium here. That's why it's so high for Kroger. So that's I guess that's why Kroger is definitely getting that. It's because it's earnings season for them. So Kroger and Wendy's, I'm guessing that's why, but I thought it was interesting. It's just good to look at if you need any ideas. Obviously, this is not a list for you to just pick off and go with the top one and say, I want to sell, a cashier put on this. I'm sure you'd make a ton of money, but let's just see how much money you would make. I just don't think that, oh my gosh. So if you put up 77.50, you could get 1,000 150 back. So that's an incredible return. That's probably 15%, 20% right there in a week. So in 1 week, if you put up $7,000, almost $8,000, you could get almost $1,200. So that's pretty insane. But obviously, I mean, we could look at the chart. It's had some crazy. It's definitely looking overbought right now, and you're probably coming up into some resistance. I would be very cautious about it. I would not recommend it at all. I have no clue who this company is, but it could be interesting to look at in the future. Obviously, with that much money, on the line, it just has to hold that price for a week, and then you collect the full $1,000, no questions asked. So that's pretty insane to pull up $1,000 like that in 1 week, and then after that week's over, you don't have to even worry about what it's going to do after that. But anyways, so Riot, like I said, Bitcoin mining company. I think they pretty much just track Bitcoin, if you ask me. Bitcoin's pretty similar to this graph. I think they're obviously oversold. I mean, I think they were obviously overbought here too, so that's not saying too much, but it's pretty much back at recent levels. I think it's here to stay, and I think honestly, Bitcoin mining is pretty smart. I mean, they just hold on to the Bitcoin, and I guess the risk for them is if it appreciates, they make a lot of money. If it depreciates, they lose money. It just depends on how much. But I think it's good, and I actually found them on the bar chart IV. They're pulling on. They were commanding about 5%, so I uh I got about 5%, and I'd probably go pretty close, maybe like 4% here. I don't know if I want to go for the 31. I usually go a little bit less, but I mean this is some crazy premium. I'll probably do two of these, or heck, I might even do some research tonight on that Sage company and see if I want to make a quick $1,000 this week. If obviously I'm gonna have to do some more research on that. I really wasn't prepared for it, but I think that Riot, if you believe in cryptocurrency and especially the price is at where it is right now, I think that it's a pretty good deal to sell it for $125 for putting up $3,000. That's a pretty good return on investment. It's about 4% return, so really 4% in a week, you can't be arguing over that. So I'll definitely be looking up Riot, and that's kind of where I got my idea from, was the barchart.com, and like looking up these. Like I said, they're not all good, and I wouldn't do half of these, more than half of these, probably 90% of these I wouldn't even do. It's really just about looking at the technicals and seeing for yourself how much it aligns, how much risk you're willing to take, and kind of the setup you're willing to go through. So that's really all I've got. I don't really plan on doing anything with AMD. Chewy, like I said, I'm planning on selling it pretty close, make a ton of money. If I get rid of it, I get rid of it. I would make, I would make about $400 on the difference between buying and selling. $100 here, 150 here, 250 there. So I know this is over a month. I mean, if I were to sell it, I think I did the numbers, roughly 10 to 12% return in a little bit over a month. So really can't be too upset about that. I definitely think it was a good play. I still think it's a good play. I just think it's going to take some more time for it to develop, and I want to keep cycling this money because there's some decent deals out there. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've got, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, definitely hit it with a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next time.